There we are on the air.
We're on the air. Welcome back to Suzilla.
Yes.
Here at Wenatchee Insurance, Suzie Health Solutions, the awesome office that handles all of your insurance needs.
In Washington State.
In Washington State, yeah. Because that's where we are. And that's where we're licensed. So I'm Suzie. That's Matt.
Hey,
and welcome to Suzilla. We're here just to talk about whatever the heck we want to.
Yeah, so today I figured we're going to take a journey to the bottom of the ocean.
Okay.
Well, it's one of those things, there's lessons to be learned here.
Yes, the Titan going investigating the Titanic and disappearing.
Yes, because at about 4:44 our time, they crossed the 96-hour point of loss of oxygen.
Oh, so they're probably dead.
Odds are they're probably dead. They very good possibility that the 2 hours when they lost contact with the mothership, they were dead then, because if it was electrical failure, that controls the
atmosphere. Yeah. Well, that's a shame. I feel bad for the families of those who are mourning their people. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of rich boys doing rich boy things with unsafe toys.
Well, yeah, let's get into that, because it was there is some weirdness going on there.
Yeah, to be fair, I have done very little reading on this. I just know it's happening. I know it has happened. I know that if there's a billionaire down there and some 19-year-old dude, that's about all I know.
Okay, so there were 4 passengers.
Okay, and a pilot?
And the pilot.
Right, so 5 people.
The billionaire and his son, a 19-year-old son, and 2 others, very wealthy individuals.
The professor and Marianne,
because they paid a quarter of each one. The ticket to take a ride was $250,000.
So $250,000 to just be in the damn submarine in the first place.
Yes.
Okay.
It was 22 feet long. It's about the size of a minivan.
Okay.
And they couldn't fully stretch their legs.
That makes sense.
They had one viewing portal in front.
Yeah.
They had one bathroom with a privacy screen in the back.
A bathroom.
They had sandwiches and drinks because they figured it's about an 8-hour journey.
Yeah.
And the controller was, as my son put it, was a PlayStation controller.
It was. It was a modified, like, PS2 or something.
Yes, and it was just like, okay. And one of the comments was it's the most cost-effective submersible ever built.
Oh dear.
And it was just like, okay, so there was $1 million for this passenger trip into the cheapest vehicle possible.
Yeah. It seems to me if I were a billionaire, I wouldn't necessarily be in the cheapest possible vehicle.
So, well, no. Let's just we're going to expand that one right there.
Okay.
That's our first point of expansion.
Okay.
Don't pick the cheapest thing.
No.
Don't pick the cheapest thing that has cut corners.
It's especially bad. Now, that's kind of interesting because we are the cheapest thing. We don't charge anything for our help.
Yes, and it's a value base.
Right. So just so you know, sometimes you don't look at the price, look at the value.
Correct.
Now, if it had been affordable and really well made and awesome and safe and things like that, sure. It wasn't well made and safe in us.
Well, yeah, one of the employees that left and had a financial dispute or lawsuit last year pointed out that the portal, the one viewing point, was only rated for 1,000 meters.
I thought it was like 1,300, but still not nearly far enough.
Not nearly the 4,000 required.
Yes.
And if there was rough seas or rough currents, it's going to fail even sooner.
Exactly. Now, it had been down before. Because it had, because there was at least one guy who was posting pictures from it. I don't know if there had been more than one trip. Do you know if they'd been down? How many times they've been down?
I'm not sure of the amount. So
the thing is, every trip it goes down reduces its integrity,
its lifespan.
Exactly.
And that the age of something.
Mm-hmm.
As things age, yes, if they're not well made, if they're cheap to begin with, they break quicker.
Exactly. And when you're dealing with the pressures and the weight of the ocean, and you've got something that's kind of spit and baling wire rated for 1,300 meters when you're going down like 5,000, the potential for failure increases.
Yeah, and the CEO. This is going to bring us to the next point. The CEO did a horrible statement yesterday about.
Oh no!
It wasn't yesterday. It was like a couple days ago about safety.
Oh gosh!
And I brought it up because it I just like looked at it. It's like, that's a red flag moment for any sort of insurance person.
Do you think they had insurance?
Well, I suspect, because anytime there's millions of dollars involved, you get into either the investors or the banks want insurance involved.
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's just. However, if this dude was self-funded and self-insured, what does it say here?
Okay. Interview shows Titanic expedition firm CEO says safety is a waste. He told CBS News, there's a limit. At some point, safety is pure waste. I mean, if you just want to be safe, don't get out of bed. Don't get in your car. Don't do anything. At some point, you're going to take a risk. And it really is a risk-reward question. I think I can do this just as safely by breaking the rules.
Oh, and that's why his people are now dead.
Well, it's and it's like, because remember, CEO means there's a corporate structure involved.
Okay, so here's the thing: you got the four rich people.
Yeah,
we know there's a billionaire and his son, and the professor and Marianne. And the professor and Marianne might not be billionaires, but they got enough money to shell out $250,000 for a little, jaunt to the ocean.
Yeah, I saw someone shout out about the Adventurers Club.
Okay,
because the Adventurers Club is one of those. Wow, it was 18th century, I think it was.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's been around a long time to explore the corners of the earth.
Right.
Branson of Virgin Media.
Yeah. Richard Branson.
He's one of the more famous ones. And then, we saw in like the 90s all the balloon races and stuff.
Right, and it was the whole around the world in 80 days thing.
So it's been around that concept of, hey, let's explore the corners of the world.
And that's not a bad thing. The important safely.
It takes planning and execution. But, like I said, that statement there is just big red flag moment. And I'm like, oh, yeah, all the lawyers are sharpening their pencils because they're going after these guys.
Okay, who's going to really be hit the hardest on this one? The pilot. Because he wasn't a billionaire. He was just a guy.
He's dead.
He's also dead, but his family's gonna sue. Oh my gosh, the lawsuit there. Everybody else signed a hold harmless. They did.
Okay. The limits of liability.
I know that's been restricted lately.
Well, no. It's.
Well, I mean, they can sue for lost future income.
Now, there's a limits of liability, and this one has a really big one. I would love to see the full one, because someone mentioned that one of the people who went down before mentioned that they signed the waiver of liability, and the first page mentioned death 3 times. And the thing with those waivers of liability, there's a limit on how far they go.
Yes.
They do not extend beyond gross negligence.
No.
And that's what most people don't understand. It's like, those liability waivers have a limitation.
I mean, if it's being attacked by an orca or a legitimate mechanical failure, it's the gross negligence that is going to win the lawsuit.
Well, yeah, and that's the end of the day. It's like, okay, what's the gross negligence? And usually then there's also conditions around them. So I imagine they encapsulate the liability waivers for their little journey to the bottom of the ocean.
Right.
That's reasonable.
Right.
But using products that weren't rated for down there,
that opens them up to a lawsuit.
that's that gross negligence.
That is, in fact, gross negligence. Even if it was directly in the contract, it would still open up that. And thing is, even if it was an airtight liability waiver, the lawyers are still going to go after him.
There's no such thing as an airtight liability waiver.
Yeah, well, obviously, there's no such thing as a super airtight Titan going to the Titanic. But even if, okay, we've got some high-powered lawyers that are they're probably on retainer with these three families.
Yeah.
They're not going to, even if it was almost unbreakable, they'd still go after him.
Yeah.
I don't care so much about those families. I care about the guy who's driving the boat, who was not a bazillionaire, who probably didn't have some sort of hold harmless waiver going on. He was an employee. We don't know anything about this dude.
Nope.
He was an employee who was doing his job to the best of his ability and died. Mm-hmm. That is one hell of an L&I claim.
Yeah, because there's certain things. I imagine that hopefully they had life insurance in play.
Yes, but who's a beneficiary?
That's the state.
Hopefully. Not necessarily.
This is true.
We
this will bring us to Keyman Insurance.
That's right.
Because if someone is deemed as irreplaceable or very, very difficult,
like the submarine pilot,
which very could be the submarine pilot,
because they're pretty rare.
Yeah, especially submersible. Yeah, I could see evil billionaire corporate CEO sort of dude putting a policy on him, and if any dies, to replace them, they would need sufficient funds to do it.
I just had a terrible moment in my head.
Okay, what's your terrible moment?
Okay, my terrible moment in my head is this wasn't an accident. This wasn't on purpose. Somebody wanted one of the people in the submersible dead. So they basically hired the owner to sabotage it and kill everybody so the one victim could go out. And then if the owner, me my conspiracy brain, took out had a big enough policy on the pilot, then he could get enough to cover possibly lawsuits coming from the other two or other three, depending on how many other two families. Because one of the family, because let's assume that, I don't know, the professor is the one that needed to be killed, right?
Okay.
Rather than
you are.
Oh, I'm spiraling. I totally.
You completely spiral.
But it's entertaining as heck.
Okay, because you're dealing with insurance frauds.
Yeah, I am absolutely. But yeah, Keyman policies. It is perfectly permissible to have a life insurance policy on somebody in your organization that is basically irreplaceable. That way, you've got enough to float along until you can replace them or figure out what to do next. That's totally okay. And my guess is a submersible pilot might have a Keyman policy. Might have had a Keyman policy.
That's a fair one, though. The most horrible, and this is why Susie's kind of thinking about it, the most horrible case was, I believe it was in the 90s or early 2000 that Walmart got caught putting Keyman policies on their greeters.
Yes, on the
elderly greeters in front.
Yep, the little old dudes and dudettes that were out front going, "Welcome to Walmart. Let me get your shopping cart." And they were putting Keyman policies, so when they died, Walmart would make money.
Yeah, and that is the classic. Oh my gosh, that is horrible.
Mm-hmm. Because the family wasn't going to get any of that money.
They might have gotten. I can't remember.
I don't know.
It's been a while since I looked at that one.
But generally with a Keyman, it's all about the business getting the benefits.
Yes, except you can have portions.
You can spread out the beneficiaries. That's totally part of a life insurance policy.
Because let's get into the evilness of it. There was an annuities person that was doing similar things. Mm-hmm. They were looking for insurance companies that were solvent.
Okay.
And they were writing large annuities on people that were dying.
Ooh.
To cash them out, so that the people that were dying would get, a couple grand,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would pocket the rest.
Okay.
So it was a very ghoulish behavior, and there's been laws put in play to prevent that from happening.
Mm-hmm.
But that has had a history of doing it, because the insurance companies just had a tizzy, because he ran that for about five years.
Oh, it probably made a tidy little bundle on it.
Yeah. And so, yeah, you can do things, and that's in life insurance is one of those things that term is great if you're dealing with just the death benefits.
Yeah.
When you start to deal with the whole life side of things, you start to deal with financial tools.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got some different flexibilities. I've seen where Keyman policies written as whole for a young enough business because they accrue cash value can become a golden parachute for someone who leaves an organization.
Yep.
And it's one of those things that geniuses. But let's get back onto the lessons from the bottom of the ocean. Cheapest vehicle.
Yes.
One of the guys in the soup forum was saying, "Hey, what is the cheapest customer relation tool I can have?"
An Excel spreadsheet.
I did tell him that.
I know you did.
Because I am that vicious, and we did.
We did. We ran with an Excel spreadsheet for about 3 years, and oh my God. Although, to be fair, by running the Excel spreadsheet, I knew every single one of our clients' names.
Yeah, that was fascinating. And we also had backup, and this is one of the things, is because we used the state exchange is the primary database.
Yeah.
We could do it that way.
Yeah.
If it was spread out over multiple companies, multiple states, there's no way you can run that.
Oh gosh, no. Gosh, no. No. Yeah, it would require a full-time person just to keep on top of stuff.
Yeah, and we really had to when we started adding on Medicare.
Yeah, that's when we really needed to pivot. And then when you were doing the high risk lines,
yeah,
that was another one that created another need for more help.
Yeah, so we took the big risk and getting in and going on our little adventure. And thanks to Light.
We took a risk on our venture to invest in something that wasn't an Excel spreadsheet.
It wasn't an Excel. We spent money to make sure that we were be able to go further in our journey and be safe about it.
Exactly.
And that's one of the big key points is like, yes, if you're going on a journey, you need to sometimes update your stuff.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that is for a business owner, if you're owning your own business, you need to. Is that what y'all enjoy? Yeah.
Okay, Matt. I know you're having a chat, but we're having a conversation with our people here. So you need to update your stuff so you are protected in the event of an emergency or an accident or an unexpected event of some sort.
Well, it's the investing in your business.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things that that we are able to transition out of just being producers to being agency owners.
Yeah. And then because we took a minute and we took a lot of minutes and we've invested in our future. We've invested in our business like so many small business people. We've poured tons of our income back into the business because that's what you do when you're a small business owner. And yeah, sometimes now I'm a notorious skinflint, and I will always look at the least expensive, and then I'll always take it up at least one step because I'm looking not just for price but for value. Because it's about whether or not, because if you're buying something that's, a good example is what they call fast fashion. You buy a shirt that lasts two wears and you throw it out. Well, but you only spent $4 on it. Well, that's great, but Now you have to buy another shirt, and then you have to buy another shirt. It's the shoe parable.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not always easy to do when you're feeling broke to think value. But if you are a billionaire, you shouldn't be thinking broke. Just for me to say that.
Mm-hmm.
We always shopped value for our tools here at Wenatchee Insurance and Suzie Health Solutions, because we knew that was something that we were going to use the snot out of, and we didn't want it to break at 1,300 meters.
Yeah, I'm rather notorious when we do these big surges that we do for business.
And we're doing a surge right now, and it's freaking me out.
And we have a tendency to break electronics.
We do. It's just something about we do a big push, and for some reason something inevitably wants to break down that we need to replace. So we have to make it work. That becomes a key phrase in our household is we'll make it work. And sometimes it's juggle this, juggle that, add a little this, add a little that, move something here, move something there. But we always seem to make it through. Mm-hmm. So far, so good.
Yeah, and yeah, we've been limping, and it's kind of a limp across the finish line, because this is the biggest outreach we've ever done.
We've never had an outreach push like this in the existence of this agency, and it's absolutely been worth it, because we've reached so many people who needed to be reached. We weren't doing this just to line our pockets, not by any stretch, because we're taking our own time and our own money, and a small grant from Washington State. And we blew past that with our own investment. We probably doubled what we probably threw in the equivalent. Or did you add it up?
I have not added it up, because I rarely do that.
Yeah.
Without putting in time.
Oh yeah.
Because time is
time is a value. Yeah.
We probably put another $20,000.
Right. We pretty much doubled what the grant was.
Yeah.
And we're not done yet. And there is no guarantee that we're going to be getting any direct clientele from this, but that's not the point. The point of this outreach was to reach people who needed health insurance.
Yep.
And because their Apple Health had to be renewed, and maybe they didn't know it, and maybe they weren't going to qualify anymore, and we want to make sure that no one got caught by surprise. And that. So there. Yes, I'm very, very passionate about this right now.
Well, yeah, because
this is a very big deal.
Yeah, we've still got another
three events.
Three events.
We have got OMAC Pride, we have got the 4th of July here in Wenatchee, and we've got the Tri-Pride in the Tri-Cities. So one not huge event, and 2 very good sized events.
Well, we're getting some traction into that OMAC event.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, it's.
That's awesome.
I think it's got the potential of doing 500.
That comparatively speaking. I mean, it's more in the lines of Snohomish.
Snohomish is a couple thousand.
Okay.
We only we managed to do 200 outreach, because that's how many bags we had.
Yeah.
But I think it's got the potential of surpassing Chelan.
Yeah, possibly. Is this OMAC's first year?
No, this is the third year.
Fry
is the organization. They
Fire.
FYRE. And this will be our first time working with them. We're looking forward to it, and they do an outreach for young adults. I believe it's 16 to 22 or something like that. So it's on that young range of assisting out and making sure that they're a safety net.
Yeah, because that's an extremely, extremely vulnerable population. One thing that you see is the number of suicide, the suicide rate amongst the LGBTQ, LGBTQ plus. I think I got it all. It's gotten long. But amongst that community, the suicide rate is much, much higher than your general population.
And in Central Washington, we do not have the best
resources,
mental health resources.
No. Actually, all of Washington State struggles with that. Central Washington is just a particularly difficult spot to get help.
It was one of the reasons why we put together outncw.org.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, and we every year we look at it and add new aspects to it, so people have resources.
Right, that's exactly what it is. It's a resource page. It's got links to all kinds of different support systems for the LGBTQIAS plus community, which I'm really, really proud to be supportive of. I'm an ally, and I'm happy to be and proud to be part of Pride. So, rah. Yes.
So yeah,
yes, I just patted myself on the back. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so we're going to be there on the 30th.
Yeah, we'll be in Omak on the 30th. We'll be at Walla Point Park for the 4th of July.
4th of July, and this is our first time with that, where there's a big, tremendous struggle to get resources to us.
They should arrive today.
They should arrive
today. I heard back from our guy. Okay. And I saw the thingy, and it had the right address on it.
Yeah, it has when things go wrong, they go wrong. We ordered specialized bags for this.
Yeah.
Because it's the first time we're going to walk into a 4th of July event and have fun in our crazy sort of manner. And
hey, I want your opinion. What kind of individually wrapped hard candy should we give away? If you're listening and you want to give us an opinion, I want to know what you think we should give for our candies.
It'll be on the good place to post our Facebook page.
Yeah, we'll do that. Because we're having a debate about that.
I still think Otter Pops.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I want a hard candy in addition to the Otter Pops.
Oh, in addition,
don't you think? I thought we'd go. Or are we going straight Otter Pops?
No, okay. I'm good. I'm on board now. Both is good.
Oh, jeez. I was thinking both because Otter Pops are cheap.
Yeah, I know they're both cheap. It's like
well, no, candy's not cheap.
Yeah, but having a backup like that, woohoo.
Well, it's not like the thing is about the candy is it will go through the next couple of events too. So, moving on.
Nice, woohoo. And then finally, on I believe it's the 9th, we're at Tri-Pride.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one.
That's a big one. That's Tri-Cities. That's Pasco, Memorial Park.
Mm-hmm. And it's a very potentially volatile area. So, because it's got a lot of pushback from anti-LGBTQ folk. But Yakima was sweet.
Yakima has been so far the best. There was only one person shouting from the back of a jacked up pickup truck. Mm-hmm. However, it's really important to note that in all these events that we've been to, there has been pushback. There's been pushback to our marketing. We've had hostile calls.
Yeah.
And we keep going.
Yeah, we're not going to stop.
And that's what most people. We do live in a I can't really say conservatives anymore.
We're less conservative than we used to be.
The reason why conservative, I can't really say conservative because conservative is about keeping the status quo. Mm-hmm. This is about extremism.
Oh, this is about regression. Regressing to what is being labeled as the better times, when it's the whole "Make America Great Again" BS, which takes us back to when people were routinely killed, lynched, books burned, segregated, forced into rehabilitation situations. The whole "we're going to beat God into you and beat the gay out of you." Women were not allowed to own their own property. They couldn't have their own checking account or their own credit card. That's the regressive level that there are some extremists trying to push us back to.
Yeah, that's where the tides are.
Right. And that's what we are pushing against.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a small vocal community of that here in Wenatchee, although there is I think the greater population does not necessarily go that far.
Yeah, but it's, inaction leads to the increase of the extremists. Mm-hmm. We've seen that time and time again. It's like, yeah, you got to really say something to be preventative.
Yeah. How are we have for time?
We are just crossed the half-hour point.
Mm-hmm.
We do pay attention to time. Time management is important.
So we'll leave us on the note of say something. Don't just let jerks run the world.
You can adventure, just do it safely.
Yes.
Plan well, which includes time management.
That's right.
So, hey, have a great day. There are lessons all around you can learn.
Absolutely.
To better yourself, your family, and your business.
Yep. Shop for value, not for price.
Bye-bye.
Bye.